They say a woman learns how strong she is only when being strong is the only option left. I used to believe that. Until strength started to feel like a cage. This is not just a story about infidelity. It is about shame that tastes sweet when it is wrapped in temptation. It is about a single mother, and the night her past knocked on the door of her future. And it is about what she did, when she found out the truth. I felt his hand against my bare skin while rain pounded the patio roof above us. My heart thundered in my chest as desire and guilt collided inside me. Every nerve in my body came alive at his touch. The world around me dissolved until there was only his warmth, his breath, and the reckless promise of escape from the loneliness that had consumed me for so long. In that moment I knew that everything I had built to protect myself would shatter, and I would never be the same again. Thank you to all of you for subscribing to this channel. A big thank you to all new and returning viewers who are yet to subscribe. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button as it serves as the fuel and energy that will keep powering this channel. Please engage and share your thoughts in the comments right now. I want to hear how you feel about that moment. My name is Emily Carter. I am a 32-year-old single mother living in suburban Dayton, Ohio. I raise my 7-year-old son, Liam, on my own. I juggle 2 jobs, one as a part-time receptionist at a dentist's office and another as an evening server at the local diner. Every day I wake before dawn, prepare Liam for school, drop him off, work my shifts, pick him up, and collapse into bed only to repeat the cycle the next morning. My life has revolved around responsibility and routine. My own desires lay buried beneath laundry piles and overdue bills. Then there is Jared Thompson. He is my new next-door neighbor. He is a recently divorced father who moved into the house beside mine with his 13-year-old daughter, Mia. Jared is tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes that hold sorrow and kindness in equal measure. His daughter is gentle and bright, but I see the flicker of fear in her eyes when she glances at him. The same fear I know all too well. I had first noticed Jared on the day he moved in. He struggled with furniture beneath the late afternoon sun. Sweat glistened on his forehead. I offered water. He accepted with a shy smile. That was the moment I first felt the stir of something forbidden. He nodded in gratitude and disappeared into his new home. Over the next week our paths crossed at the mailbox and at the school drop-off line. Polite smiles and brief exchanges of pleasantries became routine. We both lived lives too cluttered for meaningful conversation, but there was an undercurrent of raw vulnerability whenever we met. One Friday evening I arrived home later than usual. I had covered a coworker's shift at the diner and rushed back to give Liam his bath. I found him asleep, tangled in his blanket, and placed a kiss on his forehead. My body ached with exhaustion. I collapsed onto the couch and fell into a fitful nap. I woke to the sound of rain tapping against the windows. The streetlights cast a dim glow across my living room. I rubbed my eyes and peered through the blinds. There he stood, Jared, beside the driveway in a soaked white shirt. He held an umbrella in one hand and a takeout bag in the other. I opened the door before I even processed what I was doing. He stepped inside without invitation. His eyes searched mine as if seeking permission. I nodded silently. He placed the bag on my coffee table and held the umbrella so it shielded both of us from the downpour. He began to speak softly. He told me that his daughter had forgotten her raincoat at a friend's house and he could not leave her alone in the storm. He offered the dinner he had bought for her and me. I tried to refuse, but his earnest gaze broke through my defenses. We sat on my couch. He draped a blanket around both of us. The warmth of his body pressed against mine made my breath catch. I tasted salt from raindrops on his jawline. The world outside blurred into a gray curtain of water. He asked me how I was. I hesitated. The truth lodged in my throat. I had grown so accustomed to hiding my despair that admitting it felt impossible. Yet in that moment I saw in his eyes a shared loneliness. I confessed that I felt invisible, worn thin by obligations, and desperate for something more. His hand found mine. My pulse quickened. I felt tears sting my eyes. He did not draw away. He did not judge. He simply held my hand and listened as I unspooled every fear I had kept secret. He leaned closer. His lips brushed my forehead before he whispered my name. My heart pounded against my ribs. Every rational thought fled. He cupped my face with one hand and his thumb brushed a tear from my cheek. That small kindness unlocked a fierce longing inside me. The next moments unfolded in a haze. His lips found mine. I pressed into him as if clinging to a lifeline. His body settled against mine. Desire roared through my veins. Every nerve ending blazed. I felt both powerful and terrified. I tried to pull back. I reminded myself that I was a single mother. I was cautious. I was exhausted. I was responsible. But his mouth on mine erased the boundaries I had erected. I placed my hands on his shoulders and surrendered to the need that had haunted me for so long. We broke apart as rain hammered the roof above us. I looked into his eyes. They were filled with both tenderness and guilt. I remembered Liam sleeping in the next room. I remembered the world of duty I could never abandon. He rose and distanced himself. He apologized in a voice thick with regret. He said that he should not have come. I wanted to tell him to stay, to not let me go, but shame swallowed my words. He gathered his coat and the empty takeout container. He paused at the door. We both knew that nothing would ever be the same. He stepped out into the rain and closed my door behind him. I sank to the floor, my body still trembling from desire and remorse. I realized that I had invited danger into my life. I realized that my heart had found a reckless spark, and that spark threatened to consume everything I held dear. I rose slowly, the chill of the raincoat he left behind brushing against my skin. I wrapped it around my shoulders for comfort. I stared at the closed door, knowing that behind it lay a man who shared my vulnerability and had ignited a fire in my chest, one that could bring me to my knees or elevate me to heights I had forgotten existed. My life as a dutiful single mother ended on that stormy night. A new chapter had begun, fraught with temptation and betrayal. I feared the consequences, but I craved the escape. I craved to be seen as a woman again. And so I stand at the edge of a precipice, knowing that the slightest misstep will send me plunging into a world of shame and regret. Yet for the first time in years I feel alive. The morning after the storm, I stood in my kitchen, watching Liam eat his cereal with a smile that could melt any mother's heart. He was so full of innocence, so unaware of how much guilt sat heavy on my chest. I could still feel Jared's lips on mine, still feel the heat of his breath, the ache in my body, and the shame gnawing at my soul like a parasite. I avoided the window facing Jared's house. I could not risk catching a glimpse of him. Not yet. The night we shared had shaken me to my core, and now, in the cold light of day, I wanted to pretend it had never happened. But pretending was a luxury I could not afford. Jared was not some passing stranger I could delete from memory. He lived next door. His daughter, Mia, attended the same elementary school as my son. Their lives were slowly intertwining, dragging me and Jared closer with each passing day. Later that afternoon, I pulled into the school's carpool lane. Liam jumped into the back seat with the usual stories about crayons, recess, and what he traded from his lunchbox. But it was the next thing he said that turned my stomach. "Mom, Mia invited me to her house tomorrow for a playdate. Her dad said it was okay." I nearly choked on my breath. I forced a calm tone as I asked, "Did her dad speak to the teacher?" Liam shrugged. "No, but he waved at me and said I could come." I smiled at my son. I told him we would see. But inside, I was spiraling. Jared had not even bothered to speak to me. No warning. No acknowledgement of what happened. Just a casual invitation through our children. When we got home, I paced the living room. My phone sat on the armrest. I stared at it, willing it to ring. I needed Jared to explain what last night meant. Was it just heat and loneliness? Or did he feel the same hunger that had overtaken me? But my phone stayed silent. That evening, as I tucked Liam into bed, there was a soft knock on my back door. My heart seized. Only one person would use that entrance. I crept down the hallway and opened it cautiously. There he stood. Jared. His face was unreadable. "I am sorry about earlier," he said. "I should have asked you first." I did not invite him inside. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed, pretending like I was unaffected. But he stepped forward, close enough that I could smell the soap on his skin. "About last night," he began. I shook my head. It should not have happened. His eyes searched mine. But it did. We stood in silence, the tension between us pulling tighter with each second. I hated how my body still responded to him. My chest rose and fell with labored breaths. He reached out and touched my arm lightly. "Emily," I felt something. I know I should not have. But I did. "And if you tell me to walk away, I will." I wanted to say yes, tell him to leave. But my lips refused to obey. So I said nothing. And that silence was permission enough. The weeks that followed blurred into a secret rhythm. Jared and I fell into something dangerous. It was not love. It was not lust. It was a mixture of both, twisted and messy and exhilarating. He would wait until Mia went to bed, and I would wait until Liam was asleep. Then we would meet outside between our houses like teenagers sneaking out after curfew. Sometimes we talked, long, deep conversations about being broken, about parenthood, about feeling invisible. Other times, we touched in desperate ways that left me gasping for air. But always, after he left, the guilt returned. I felt like I was cheating on the very life I had fought so hard to build. And yet, I could not stop. Mia's mother returns. Then came the unexpected twist. It was during the school's PTA meeting. I had almost skipped it, but guilt pushed me through the doors of the gymnasium. I sat near the back, trying to avoid attention. Jared arrived late. I noticed the tension in his shoulders. He looked over, but did not acknowledge me. I expected that. What I did not expect was the elegant woman who walked in right after him. She looked like she stepped out of a magazine, long brown hair, heels that clicked like warnings, and eyes that zeroed in on Jared like lasers. She took the seat beside him and placed a hand on his thigh. My stomach flipped. That was Mia's mother. She leaned over and whispered something in his ear. Jared looked straight ahead, avoiding her gaze. His jaw clenched, his hands on his lap. I could see he was angry. But he did not move her hand. She smiled. I left the meeting early, trembling, heart racing. The cold air outside was not enough to cool the fire of betrayal rising in my throat. I waited until Liam was asleep before I pulled out my journal, the one I never let anyone touch. It was my confessional, my mirror. And I wrote everything. Every touch, every lie, every moment I had chosen Jared over reason. Then I wrote the question I had been avoiding. Who am I becoming? I had built my life on being a good mother, a strong woman, someone who rose from the ashes after Liam's father abandoned us. But now, I was sneaking around, surrendering to a man I barely knew, while our children unknowingly bonded like siblings. And now, the mother of his child was back. And I was not ready to face what that meant. I did not see Jared for 3 days. No text. No knocks on the door. Just silence. I told myself that was good. That I needed to stop this before it spiraled further. But deep down, I felt discarded. Used. Like last night's secret. On the 4th day, I saw him in the yard. He waved. I did not wave back. But something else happened. As I turned away from the window, I noticed an envelope slid under my back door. I picked it up slowly, heart pounding. Inside was a photo. It was old. Faded. In it, I was 19. Sitting on a bench in front of my college dorm, laughing with a man whose face I had almost erased from memory. The note attached had only 4 words. We need to talk. I sat at the edge of my bed, holding the photo in my trembling hands. My knees were weak. My breath shallow. My past, so carefully buried, was staring me in the face again. There I was, just 19, in cut-off jeans, laughing in the arms of the man who had broken me before I ever knew what real womanhood meant. And now Jared had the photo. The man in the picture beside me was Jared's older brother. I remembered him now. His name was Damien Thompson. He was charming, dangerous, and had once made me feel like I was everything. I met him at a college party during my freshman year. He was older, already in grad school, already manipulative. Our relationship was short but brutal. He took what he wanted and left me in pieces. When I found out I was pregnant with Liam, I tried to contact him, but he vanished. I never heard from him again. I spent years telling myself that Liam's father was just a mistake. A shadow. Someone my son never needed to know. But now, that man's younger brother had moved in next door. And I had slept with him. I walked across the grass separating our houses like a woman marching to the gallows. I did not knock. I opened the gate to his backyard, where I found him standing beside the grill. The smoke curled around him like a ghost. He did not look surprised to see me. He placed the spatula down and turned. I was going to come to you, he said softly. But I needed time. You knew, I said. All this time, you knew who I was. You knew about the photo. He shook his head. I did not know at first. Not until I found the photo in one of Damien's old boxes when I was cleaning out our parents' attic. You were laughing. I recognized your smile immediately. That was 2 weeks ago. I stepped closer. Why did you not say anything? He exhaled hard. Because I was trying to make sense of it. Of all of it. I knew Damien had hurt people, but I did not know he left a child behind. I stared at him. You knew that Liam is his son? Yes, he said. I figured it out after I saw the photo. Liam has his jawline. His eyes. And the timeline fits. I did not know what to do, Emily. I did not come here to find you. But once I did, I could not walk away. I turned away from him, my mind spinning. I wanted to run. But my feet were planted. I felt exposed, violated, furious, and worst of all, I still wanted him. I gave you pieces of myself, I said. I trusted you. And you kept this secret. I did not come here with a plan, he replied. But I stayed because I saw how strong you are. Because I saw how good of a mother you are. And yes, because I wanted you. I laughed bitterly. You wanted me? Or you wanted redemption for your brother's sins? He looked wounded, but I did not care. You were never just a woman to me, Emily. You were a mirror. You showed me what I had lost. You made me feel like I could be more than my bloodline. I swallowed hard. You lied by omission. You should have told me. And you? He asked, stepping forward. You never told me that Liam was Damien's. You never said a word. I froze. He was right. We had both been hiding truths. And yet, it still felt like I had been betrayed more deeply. I left his backyard in silence. That night, I lay in bed while Liam slept peacefully beside me. I stared at the ceiling, feeling like a woman split in two. Part of me wanted to hate Jared for what he had kept from me. But another part, one I did not want to admit, understood. We had both come into each other's lives with open wounds. We had both made terrible mistakes. But where did that leave us now? I thought about Liam's future. About the truth he would one day need. I had always planned to tell him the truth, just not like this. Not so soon. Not with this much pain wrapped around it. The next day, I wrote a letter. I did not know if it was for Jared or for myself. I poured everything into it, my past with Damien, my fears, my regrets, and the twisted, unplanned love I had started to feel for Jared. I left it on his doorstep. I stayed inside the rest of that weekend. On Monday morning, there was another knock on my back door. I opened it to find Jared standing there, eyes swollen from lack of sleep. He held the letter in one hand. "I read every word," he said. "And I do not want to let this go." I stood there frozen. "I cannot erase my brother's damage," he continued. "But I can choose not to repeat it. I want to know Liam. Not because he is my nephew. But because he is yours. And I want to earn your trust back." I did not respond right away. I stepped aside and let him in. Liam knows the truth now. He knows that Damien was his biological father. He knows that Jared is his uncle. But to him, Jared is more than that now. He is the man who shows up for soccer practice. The man who helps him with math homework. The man who stayed. I still carry guilt. Some nights I wake up sweating, remembering that first night, the way it all started. But I also remember how it changed me. Being a single mother made me strong. But being seen, as a woman, as a lover, as a human being, made me whole again. Jared and I are far from perfect. We argue. We heal. We rebuild. But now we do it together. And sometimes, just sometimes, something good rises out of the wreckage.